Warbalat. There he is on vacation, yet talking to me. I mean, get out of here. You're on vacation. Go take your kids. You're out. You're everywhere. You're talking to all the important people. You're saving the world. But what about the children?
The children are well fed. The children now are knocking on my door and saying, "Baba, let's go." So we're gonna go. But I said first, Bald Man Pete has asked me to come, and they're like, "Oh, Bald Man Pete, he's scary. He's one of those scary whites. He can go radical real quick. So just listen to him and do what he says." So I'm supposed to be with my in-laws here in Orlando, and we're supposed to take the kids. I have like 800 kids here, my kids and the cousins, but Donald Trump decided, based on vibes, Pete, not intelligence, because who needs intelligence, to join Israel's disastrous war with Iran. And of course, as I was talking to Danielle Moody earlier today for Democracy-ish, during our conversation, Iran retaliates. It seems to be a coordinated strike with Qatar, so we can only hope it's like some sort of sword rattling and, Iran's doing a warning. But this is what happened, man. Wars in the Middle East are easy to start, hard to finish. And we have the dumbest people on earth who, according to the New York Times reporting, went off of vibes. And specifically, the New York Times reported that Donald Trump saw Fox and said, hey, the war is, quote, playing well. So let me strike. And then other people within that, most likely is probably, Rubio and Hexeth and others, were like, damn it, we wish Tucker Carlson was on Fox so we could get another viewpoint. This is what we're dealing with. This is what happens when you elect the dumbest people on earth, man, based on vibes and based on ego and based on Fox News. That's why apparently, according to the New York Times, Donald Trump decided, after telegraphing to the world, by the way, so the whole strike was completely unsuccessful, because when you telegraph to the world that you're going to do a regime change, guess what? Iran just scooted away its enriched uranium. Like, oh, you might join us in 2 weeks. You might join Israel in bombing us in 2 weeks. Let's just move the uranium.
There's some reporting that they got in and moved much of their enriched uranium. Nobody knows, but the idea that if they did, what's it all for? I mean, it seems like a perfectly executed political hit. And it reminds me of Trump 1 when he killed Soleimani, the Iranian general. I hosted a special with all of my favorite experts. I thought we were going into World War III. We put some holes in the ground. He got his win. They launched a bunch of missiles. They said they launched an equal number of missiles. It's not a Middle East war. It's not regime change. That's it. We're good. We'll move on.
Well, I mean, I'm so glad you brought that up, because a huge part of MAGA, this is what I've been saying for last week, and this is where we are, is I wish we had an anti-war party. We don't. I said last week that I have more faith in the MAGA America First base keeping us from war than the Democratic establishment, because Donald Trump, he ran on, right? Peace, strength, security, non-interventionism, America First. We're not going to be the world's policeman. We're going to spend all that money on Americans. But wait, threatens Canada with essentially overtaking Canada, making a 51st state, which literally resuscitated the Liberals and gave Carney the win, right? Has on the table that he's going to use military. He's open to using the military to take over Greenland, right? Has essentially pissed off the entire world, including our allies, with this trade war, which has yielded zero trade deals, right? Has pissed off the EU and NATO by kissing up to Russia. The Ukraine-Russia war was supposed to end within a week. Nope. That's still going on. Oh, Gaza, that was supposed to end. Nope, still a genocide. And now Netanyahu dog-walked Trump, because just like he dog-walked him in the first administration, folks, because look, facts matter. And Pete and I are old enough that we remember how the corporate media was, quote-unquote, embedded, right? Embedded with the U.S. troops and were stenographers for war propaganda. And the Bush administration lied. They lied to the American public to sell them the war in Iraq. Remember the mobile laboratories, nuclear weapons? None of it was there.
I remember all of it. Yeah.
None of them was there, right? All of it was bullshit. And so here we are, where the U.S. Iran deal under Obama was a diplomatic coup.
It's really.
Who blew it up, Pete? Who blew it up? Trump.
I mean, it's interesting what you say about having an anti-war party. I want to talk about that to a certain extent, but it is also interesting to compare the run-up to the Iraq War and the intelligence in arguments that you just mentioned that convinced enough of the American public and the world that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. We needed to go in. But remember the elaborate presentations, remember the slideshow, remember the testimony to the UN and to Congress, all of that. Yesterday on TV, the vice president and or the Secretary of State, I think it was Rubio, said, who cares about the intelligence? we've come a long way to the point where it doesn't matter if they were thinking of making a bomb, if they had uranium that was enriched enough to make a bomb, if they had a bomb. None of it matters, because in the end, it only matters what Trump decides to do. I know why he decided to do. You gave a couple good arguments. The Fox News, it's playing well. Politically, it's a distraction. Netanyahu told him now's the time. Perfect. But the bottom line is, it will do. They'll follow him anywhere.
Yep.
They will follow. There's no need to make a good argument. If Daddy says go, we're gonna go.
And it's a very good point, because at least even the Bush administration had to engage, like you said, into
a campaign, a long time to convince people,
right? A theater of deception. Colin Powell, just shameful part of his legacy, right? With the vial of anthrax, right?
Yeah.
Yahoo came, and of course, Benjamin Yahoo for like 3 decades has been saying Iran is this close to having a nuclear weapon. And Tulsi Gabbard, his own director of national intelligence, told the world 90 days ago that Iran is not close to having a nuclear weapon. And he throws Tulsi under the bus twice publicly last week. And then, based on vibes, and speaking about vibes, he said, 2 weeks, I'll decide in 2 weeks. And then he was mocked and ridiculed. And he's like, okay, I'm going to be strong, not weak. And then boom, he did it, right? Yeah. So even then, they don't even have to engage in the pretense of selling the war, because like you said, they're both lazy, and they realize they have a mercurial, like feckless, kind of impatient idiot, Donald Trump. What he says goes, and he throws J.D. Vance under the bus. J.D. Vance goes on the shows early and said, this is not regime change. Pete Hegseth said, don't worry, this is not regime change. A few hours later, what does Trump post on Truth Social? Regime change.
Yeah.
MIGA. Make Iran great again.
Yeah. MIGA. Careful how you say that. MIGA, M-I-G-A, make Iran great again. But there's not going to be any boots on the ground. That would be a threshold that Americans just won't accept. Right now, there's some on the right and plenty of others who are criticizing this. But still, go back to my point about Soleimani back in whatever it was, 2018. I mean, Iran is far weaker than they even were then. They really are going to have a hard time with any kind of retaliation. We're not going to send boots on the ground, and this is just puppetry. They get to talk about their plane that they flew around the world, and that we have big weapons and big mean bombs. He waved his dick around, and everything is going to calm down now. What do you think?
No, it's not going to come down. That's not how this works. And we also, by the way, those planes.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. The planes and the bombs, folks, that cost $7 billion. So in addition to wasting $40 million on his pathetic military parade, he also just wasted $7 billion on
$7 billion that operation cost? Well,
yeah, each bomb was what, half a billion, 500 million, 14 bombs. That should be $7 billion. It should be about $7 billion, I think. Check it out.
Wow.
And then also the $40 million on the military parade, also the money that is being spent on unleashing the military and National Guard and ICE to terrorize LA residents, right? So, and also the 22-year-old who's now the head of our countering violent extremism, Thomas Fugate.
Oh, yeah, that guy's good.
Also the fact that Pete Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense and no one respects him, and the fact that everyone uses Signalgate, which is why our allies won't trust us with intelligence, because, Jeffrey Goldberg might get it, and the fact that our allies are turning away from us because we have engaged in a stupid trade war with them and mocked them and ridiculed them, and the fact that, if you do want nuclear de-escalation, the best way to go about it is to go ahead and bomb the country that actually entered into negotiations. Because if I'm a middle right now, you know what the thing I'm doing for the next 10 years, Pete? I'm trying to get a nuclear bomb.
Yeah. Yes. It's the biggest.
Because if you have a nuclear bomb, what happens?
You got to see
destruction. No one's going to F with you. You know who has a nuclear bomb? Israel.
Yeah.
You know who else has it? North Korea. And what happens when you have a nuclear bomb? Donald Trump gives you love letters.
I think we're getting a little laggy on my end. The bunker busters, they're $500 million. You're right, $500 million a bomb. I'm on Amazon Prime. I just got one.
There you go.
I got two.
You don't need to feed your kids. Why don't you just get like a bomb? So we just wasted all of that weaponry, all of that money. It's just and the establishment. I wish we had an anti-war party, and you know what? Maybe we might get one, because listen, people. I'll try to be fair. Senator Schumer was more hawkish than Tucker Carlson Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve
on
Bannon
Iran. Yeah.
on Iran just 2 weeks ago. And the fact that today Marjorie Taylor Greene went on Steve Bannon and was against this war and said, why are we fighting this war on behalf of freaking Israel? It made me almost vomit because I'm like, I want off this timeline. I can't believe I'm bringing Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Steve Bannon.
Why aren't the Democrats the anti-war party in this case? There's no senators that I've seen be outside of Fetterman, or I haven't seen any House Democrats be supportive of this attack. I've seen most Democrats say this, starting with it's illegal.
Few have, but they haven't been as vocal. And the reason being is I think they're waiting to see how it played out. I'm sorry to say, get paychecks from AIPAC, and all of them have been very muted when it comes to criticizing Israel. If you don't believe me, look at the past year and a half, the crackdown on pro-Palestinian activists, the crackdown on Mahmoud Khalil. I hear an echo. You hear an echo right now?
I don't hear anything. That was my fan, maybe. I don't know. I turned it on.
I can hear an echo right now. So weird. Okay, as long as you don't hear it, that's fine. As long as it doesn't bother you. Mahmoud Khalil spent 104 days in detention. The detention of never spent a single day in detention. Zero crime. Amazing, kidnapped from the crackdown on Palestinian activists. Crackdown. Colleges and universities. Democrats to be honest with us. Democrats quiet. Right? And then what happened? This genocide Biden, even the green light. Democrats kept siding Israel and Netanyahu. And now Netanyahu walks Trump. Now we're running. But the good news is that you go yesterday. Did you see this poll?
We do have a very bad echo. No one can hear you. Maybe hit the X and leave, and then come right back out. I want to ask you about that poll. Is there an echo now when I'm just here? Do you hear an echo now? No echo, right? Let's bring Waj back in.
I was on a roll.
You were on a roll. I'm sorry. Do you hear an echo now?
No. When did you lose me?
You were talking about the latest poll. You're going down the list there. You were on a roll. You're always on a roll. You're so good at talking. I was watching you talk alone earlier for like 30 minutes. I was like, this guy, how does he do that? I wouldn't have any.
That was just me, like with the midnight rant. And shockingly, that's a funny thing, people. We do what we do. I did this midnight rant. I'm like, no one's gonna watch it. It's like the third most viewed thing I've done on my Substack.
Is it really?
Yeah, like it had 3,500 likes. I'm like, what happened? Why? How? None of this makes sense.
That doesn't make any sense. Just because the only thing to suggest is that people would rather see you alone than you with anybody, even though you talk to some of the smartest, most interesting people out there. So that's not a bad thing.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. I just think people were desperate for some content.
I talked alone for 20 minutes the other night, and people started literally going on live and killing themselves live, which I was like, is it that bad? They're like, yes, I can no longer.
That's I have to kill myself. I'm sorry.
Live on MySpace.
Pete's like, I'm just reciting some poetry. Nope.
It's Thomas Frost. What is wrong with you?
You're like, nope, I'd rather die. I'd rather die than have you recite Frost.
I said Thomas. I meant Robert. I couldn't even do the bit. I couldn't even
you were going to correct yourself.
Okay. Anyway.
To quote Robert Frost, life, it goes on. And it must. But what I was saying was, real quick, we have to be honest. We have to connect the dots, Pete, because oftentimes people don't. And maybe that's what people appreciated. Listen, there was the war on terror. You and I are old enough. Yeah. And the war on terror, like we saw, Bush demonized Muslims and Arabs, axis of evil, us versus them, bullshit, lies. We went to Iraq, normalized Islamophobia. As a result of the war on terror, what got created? Patriot Act. What got created? DHS. What got created? Pete? ICE. The rest of us said, hey, you are willingly giving up your freedoms and liberties for the feeling of safety and security. And they said, shut the F up, you terrorists. Shut the F up, you're anti-American. When we said, this will be used against you in the future, they're like, we don't care. Who is terrorizing Americans right now? ICE. What did Donald Trump say to try to hit Barack Obama? He's a Muslim, right? The birther conspiracy. What did Donald Trump run on? The Muslim ban. What was the first thing he did in his first administration the first week? The Muslim ban, right? Then Netanyahu, the fact that the establishment is all in for Israel, no matter what, even with war criminal Netanyahu, the genocide, the crackdown on university, the crackdown on pro-Palestinian activists, right? It all leads up to this moment. And that was emboldened by Joe Biden. Joe Biden was able to change on so many things, Pete. When it came to friggin' Palestine, man, like just ossified in 1970s, just refused to change, right? And we know now, as we saw at that time, he greenlit everything that Netanyahu did. Netanyahu crossed every single red line, and Joe Biden said, "Fine." And so Netanyahu was like, "I'm emboldened. Who's going to stop me?"
No, you're
Let me
absolutely
blow
right.
up this deal.
When you say anti-war, I wish we had an anti-war party. I was only thinking in a vacuum about this bombing of Iran. I wasn't thinking of the Democrats and the Biden administration, and obviously everything that's happened in Gaza. I mean, you're not wrong about that. We're seeing that play out obviously in the New York City mayoral race as well. And
Bro, and I was going to get there. That's happening tomorrow. Look what the racism against Mamdani. It's clear as day.
well, one thing that has really just never changed is, God, we, the whites, hate you guys. We hate you so much that when we find out that it's you, we're like, oh, thank God, or of course. And we're just not worried about you guys dying very much, and we're not thinking about your families. I mean, Muslims specifically, especially Muslims. I mean, we could certainly talk about Hispanics, brown people in general, but when it comes to foreign wars, and I mean, I've heard a lot of people say this, so just say another thing about how long we have been bombing Muslim countries almost my whole life, and we're fine with it. We're pretty okay with it. I just want to point that out as a white.
Permanent war boner when it comes to bombing Muslims. And even the Rhino, Never Trump neocons, they showed their true colors.
It's this argument about, does Congress need to give approval to, bomb another country? And every single president, including Obama and up to Trump, refers to the AUMF, which was created after 9/11. And I think now it's like, no, they're still Muslims.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
The AUMF covers all Muslims.
All Muslims. Palestinian is a Muslim, is an Arab, is ISIS, is Al-Qaeda, is Hamas. Zoran Mamdani, who is the son of South Asian African immigrants, right, from Uganda. He's apparently in charge of the Intifada, and he's apparently Hamas. It doesn't matter, folks, the racism. And that's why I always try to stress with Danielle, we co-host Marxish, we talk about the twin sins of America is always, always, always white supremacy and greed. And so who's going to benefit from this war? Netanyahu, a war criminal, violent extremists who are going to be emboldened. And by the way, those are violent extremists also at home, because the number one domestic terror threat is white supremacists and right-wing terrorism. Remember Vance Bolter, the one who just assassinated friggin' Minnesota elected officials that no one's talking about? Yeah, I digress. And the fact that a friggin' Nazi white supremacist just got an award from the University of Florida for writing a paper arguing how the Constitution only applies to white people.
I saw
that's from 2 days ago, folks. Can't make this shit up. In University of Florida, you can't teach courses on racism, but you can straight up be a Nazi student writing a piece on how the United States, the laws and rights only apply to white people, and a Trump-appointed judge gave him an award for that essay.
And he now has more subscribers on Substack than you in one day.
Yeah, but white supremacy goes a long way. If he was to talk for 20 minutes, people would kill brown people, not themselves.
They're building a Death Star behind him. His name is Preston Damsky. He's a white nationalist and anti-Semite. That's the first two lines of the story. The white nationalist wrote a law school paper promoting racist views. It won him an award.
I'm telling you, I don't make this shit up, man. I come with my receipts.
No, I saw that last night, and I read like that part of it, and I was like, nah, and I just decided I wanted to move on. All right.
Can I ask you, as a New Yorker, right now, Mamdani and Cuomo are tied. The race is tomorrow. Yeah. What happens if Cuomo wins? Clinton went and supported Cuomo. Clyburn did. Lord Subbers, New York Times, all the Wall Street bros, Palantir CEO. Like this is so disgusting, Pete. But you tell me, as a New Yorker.
I don't know, and I'm not a New Yorker anymore. I mean, I was for 12 years, and but I'm not a voter there, and I'm shocked. I'm really shocked at it. I just remember that it would absolutely disqualify you from running for office if, like, a couple of women, maybe one, but if two women had accused you of something pretty bad behavior, or much less an affair, if you just had an extramarital affair. But Andrew Cuomo has always been a terrible, terrible person, and people know that. It's hard to have an excuse that they don't know that. But it's a mayoral primary, and name recognition seems to be the only thing that matters. This guy Mamdani has run apparently the greatest campaign anybody's seen in years on social media and elsewhere. But it'd be really, really upsetting to see Democrats, to see Andrew Cuomo back in the fold running New York City with all of his horrific character qualities. And loyalty to corporations and brands and money over the people, no doubt about it.
And this is why I think it's the establishment. I think it's literally the people versus the establishment. And if he wins, I think either way, it's going to be a watershed moment, because if he wins, it's a direct FU to so many people. I think there's going to be a lot of people who completely lose faith in the Democrats. You're going to see a disillusionment. But if he loses, they're going to go after Mamdani. Man, if they have like 10 cannons after AOC, it's going to be 100 cannons, precisely for what we've talked about the last 20 minutes.
Well, AOC's brand seems to be still pretty impressive. She accompanied Mahmoud Khalil through the airport the other day. I mean,
she did. I didn't see that. That's great.
She's courageous. What she's doing. He
was back at Columbia. That's dope.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's unbelievable story. That and Kilmar Abrego Garcia, both those are pretty big wins from the past week.
And also, Los Angeles Dodgers responding to community leadership and rejecting ICE, and also giving $1 million for immigrant rights. That's pretty big too. That they responded to bottom-up leadership, not top-down.
It's worth counting the wins. I think you should do, seeing as that these single person videos are so great. Maybe I'll just send you all the wins I see. You collect all the wins. You should do it this week's wins, because there are, and I really am serious. Like we have
That's
to.
a good idea.
We have to recognize that there are a lot of good people doing good things all the time. And sometimes good things happen as a result of the activism and work that people are doing, putting themselves out there and advocating and making phone calls. And so, it's a good reminder that and an incentive. It's the only way we get back to anything and make the world a better place for our kids, if we recognize the fact that good people are doing good things. So I put that upon you.
You know what? If I'm free tonight, well, I should be on vacation tonight or tomorrow. You know what we should do? We should do something called this week's wins or this month's wins or something, and just make a list. And I'll invite you, and we'll just go down. And
let's do it. Yeah, let's do this month's wins. This week's wins with Pete and Waj.
That's a good one.
We'll come up with something snappier than that.
I think like Mahmoud Khalil is a good one. Them going against ICE in LA is a good one.
There's all kinds of really important things that are happening that you see unfold on social media, even like an account blowing up for a good reason, or the fact that there's a shadow group of vaccine scientists creating their own board.
They are. I didn't know that. See,
there's all kind, and I'm just all over the news every single day. So I'll do it with you anytime you want. Even if we only have 5 good wins, we go on, we share them, and we remind people that there's a lot of good folks out there.
Let's do that this week. Let's wait until what happens tomorrow. I'm hoping we can add a Cuomo loss. As that we should lead with that. But I think that's really good. I think it's a good idea, and let's try it out. Let's go on live Substack and do it.
Are you going to go to which Orlando? Can you say you don't want to tell the public which Orlando destination?
I think the kids want us to go to Magic Kingdom, so it's all going to be painful regardless.
No. Have you been to Magic Kingdom before with your kids?
To everything, man.
Oh, right, because your family lives there. Okay.
Everything. I've even been to Gatorland.
Wait, I feel like you want to keep talking to me. You don't want to go anywhere with these kids. You're like, who else wants to talk? I have to make 5 more 1-hour just me videos.
Bro, they also want to go to water park. I'm like, when will the water park end? God, one day.
Have you gotten recognized at any of those places? Aren't you that political commentator? What are you doing?
I see sometimes
people look at you.
Whites giving me, yeah. Like sometimes, like the Browns and the Blacks come up and say, "Hey, man, good job."
Always the case. Always the case. When I was on CNN every night for a year, I got recognized every day by Black people, and always in the airport by Black. It was the white people. If the white people see you, they don't say anything. Black people will walk up and be like, "Hey, man, aren't you Warbalot?"
Yeah, like, "Hey, Warbalot." There was a Black man at an airport who said, "Hey, Warbalot, on Piers Morgan, good job, bro, good job." I'm like, great. And the whites, they just look at you. I'm like, you're looking at me, and I have a feeling you think you know.
Well, whites look at you and go, is that liberal commentator or the shoe bomber?
Is that Jose Padilla?
Shit. That was a weird moment that he was calling him Jose Padilla.
It was a deliberate moment, and now they're openly saying "cry harder, libs." It's racism, man. You know, I've been saying it on your show for what, friggin' talking for years, and people are like, quiet, darky. We're post-racism.
Hey,
and I mean, it all goes back to racism.
Give me some credit. I've been saying it on my show since 2008.
You're right.
Racism. It's always so much racism. And when you add the religion, Islam,
it's a double whammy. It's a cocktail.
Out of here.
That's like a horny goat weed on steroids.
Just don't marry my daughters. That's where I'm at right now.
Protect my daughters, but don't marry them or I'll kill you.
I just met my daughter's new boyfriend. He's even bigger than the last one. They keep getting bigger.
Is he a white?
He's a white. He's very white, but he seems to be well-read. I don't want to say much more. It just then is that he's huge. He's fucking huge. I met him. I looked up at him. I was like, you taking my daughter out? Okay. She seems to really like you. Okay. See you later, sir.
Yeah. I saw that movie, which I really liked. 28 years later, there was an alpha zombie who's like 7'2". So your daughter just goes for the alphas.
Oh man. I don't know what she's doing, but they just, it's my only comment. They keep getting larger every time.
And then you keep getting balder and smaller and older.
Exactly. They're like, your father looks like an old sea captain. Is he okay? I'm like,
Darr. He's like, Darr. Oh.
Be careful out there.
He goes, does he have scurvy? What happened to him?
Why does he talk like an old sea captain too?
And how come he keeps switching his eye? One eye is down, and he keeps switching the claw. It's like young Frankenstein.
Can't get me started on some of my wildest rides, son.
Yar. If you treat me daughter well, I have treasures for ye.
It's the only way you can seem tough as an old white is if you're like an old sea captain-y voice like that.
Yeah, because you would scare him. You'd be like, this man might be crazy, and he has a hook, and he might kill me.
And Anky pulls out an anchor, just lands on his hood.
He's like, Darr. He goes, don't make me stab thee with my rapier.
I laugh every time you do the guy. Every time you do Darr, it makes me laugh, and I don't want to because it's not that fun.
No, it's just so stupid. We should try it out. The first thing you say, Darr. The name is Pete. Petey Dominic Darr.
When it's just when you meet any boyfriend, you just make that noise, and it doesn't matter how big he is, he's fucking terrified.
You'd be like, I want to get out. I'll treat your daughter well. I think we should break up. She's like, why? Your father, man.
Mr. Dominic, it's really nice to meet you. Darr.
Darr, pleasure to meet you too, matey. Arr.
Why does he wear an eye patch? I don't know. I don't know.
Goes, Darr.
This is the end of
Long Island. I had a run-in with Somali pirates. Darr.
That's made me laugh a lot harder than I was planning. All right, man. I love you. Enjoy whatever you're doing with your family. They're only little ones.
But hey, make a list if you can. I think let's try it this week. I think I'm
going to make a list. That's what I'm going to ping you and be like, I got 7 things. Let me run them past you. And you can, if you got need to add
5 things. The week can win, something like that. Like just we need it.
Done.
All right, man.
All right.
Take
later.
Care.
Thank you. There he goes. There he goes. Darr. Oh my God. Needed a laugh like that. I don't know if that was funny from the viewer's point of view, but I hope it was. He was pretty big. All right. Well, there goes Waj. If you are a subscriber to my channel, I'm hosting a hangout tonight at 8 p.m. We'll talk about all of it. Guard. And then I will be live later on with our friend Bill Boyle, probably around 7 or so. I hope. I'm going to try to make that happen before our hangout at 8 p.m. And that's it. Thanks for stopping by and joining me here live, and subscribe to the channel and all the things and the likes, and I'll talk to you later. Okay.